Hello, and welcome to your weekly astrological update. So we are looking at the week of November 5th, 2024, and we have been looking at this week for quite some time, and we're going to continue to look at this week for quite some time. But I put on the aspects to just get your head around some of these that are in place right now. And when you first look at something like this, I know I still kind of get, googly eyed, but look at the colors. First of all, look at the blue. The blue are all your nicer aspects. You have your trines and your half trines, which are sextiles. And you'll see a nice trine right here. And then you see a sextile, half of it. So trine, remember, is 120 degrees. Sextile is 60 degrees. And then the red, of course, red should get your attention as warning, stop, whoop, whoop. Red is a caution color. And we have all the hard aspects here. You have squares like this. You see the moon right now when I did this chart, it's making nice squares to the nodes. So the moon right now is in the bends. Remember, right in the middle of the nodes, the bends. And then there's half squares and squares and a half. So it's like if we see the square looks, the sign is a square, half a square is going to be like, it's going to be like this right over here, like a 45 degrees, a smaller piece of a square, right? This is telling you the angle is half. This pointer I have is 90, right? There's that square right there. So if I hold it up, you can see the pointer over to that half a square. It's half of that, right? That little red line. Hope you're seeing it in my pointer. You're probably not, but anyway, I think you get that. Oh, here's a nice one right down here. Okay, see, so if you see my pointer, to me, it looks like a cross, but you'll see that that's half. Okay, and then the other part of that is the square and a half, which is the square with this little L kind of thing, which is again to indicate there's more. So we have that 90 degrees plus the 45, and that's the 135 of the square and a half. And you see all of these. So just in your mind, and know that software can do this. Otherwise, we used to have to do this by hand years ago. So you kind of look for certain things. Basically, you would look for a trine and then move it ahead, starting with, around 15 degrees, because you go 120, yeah, that 15, that's 135. Okay, so you start searching around there. So there's little tricks to do that. But anyway, today, and then let's look at the green. Sorry. The green is the quincunx, the 150-degree angle. So basically, these are just, it's showing you parts of this of the circle. So look at today. Look at all the red. Look at all the squares, squares and a half, half squares. Interesting, right? And it just so happens like right now, the moon just moved into that position. It won't be there by the time we're probably done with this recording, or when you watch this, it won't be in that spot. But it is right now at like 5 o'clock Eastern time. Um, we're seeing a half a square. It's just kind of passing between Mars and Jupiter. So we know that there's tension right now. This is the election day. It has been looming for a long time, and this is irritating. Look at large, right? Gemini, people, communication, half square. Mars. Look at just moved into Leo, just moved into drama, passionate. Um, Look at me. I want to dramatize. I want to say something about this. This is blah, 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 roar, roar, right? And then what really got my attention when I looked at all of this, your mind starts to sort it out after you kind of know what to look at a little bit, or just sort it out. The nodes of the moon right here, they're at the end of the Aries Libra axis, but right here at the north node is trining Mars. Mars just clicks into 0 Leo, and it starts to pick up the trine to 4 degrees Aries. Um, that is in, and then of course it's going to then sextile over on the other side, the south node. So that's very harmonious. Mars here is in good conversation with destiny right now. So this to me, and then up over here, Mercury on the other side of this, it's like a kite pattern, right? Because we have the south node. Things are about to change, having a sextile over to Mercury and then a sextile over here to Mars. So this is a very powerful arrangement today. This is what got my mind to begin with. This is very, very powerful. Um, Flowing energy, right? We've got the North Node making a trine to Mercury on one side and a trine to Mars on the other. So there's a lot of communications happening. There's a lot of things being revealed. There's a lot of passion being focused toward a new destiny, a new target. That's the Aries, the node at 4 degrees Aries. Now, just make a mental note when we get to kind of keep our little, how do I say it? Whisper in your head, 4 degrees Aries, 4 degrees Aries, 4 degrees Aries, 4 degrees Aries. Just remember that 4 degrees Aries, because next year when we have Saturn and Neptune moving into Aries, will that area as it gets closer to 4 will kind of bring back some of this energy. Also the spring moon. So there'll be a lot of things at the 4 degrees. But anyway, I just want to put it out there because this is like right now, today. This is very important. And then we see all the tension. Look at from the North Node over the moon right now. We have, this one down here I just told you about, Mars and Jupiter. We have here a square and a half from the sun to the North Node. So there's some tension there with movement. There's some resistance in wanting to move forward, not letting go of things. We see this really intense energy. The sun with Venus making a half square. There's again uncomfortable feelings. Ew, there's just a very uncomfortable. And then Venus is in another uncomfortable conversation with Uranus, a quincunx. So it's like is what we really want reflected in how we've been told things? Have we been told things that are lies? What I'm seeing in a bigger picture is um, the mainstream media is the man behind the curtain, in The Wizard of Oz. I think people are seeing the power of that illusion being pulled back, being like going, oh my God, look how they swayed this. Look at how they tainted this. Look at how they do this. Look at how this is a science. This is not fly by night. These are paid people going by a script and it's being revealed. We're looking at all of this stuff coming out. We're looking at the Neptune, all the stuff with Neptune and then Mercury, coming out, definitely making odd reactions here and poignant things, revealing, the illusion and delusion, and we'll see more. Neptune gets stimulated as people are going to see lies. People are going to see truth because they're seeing the lie so blatantly in so many areas. All right, that's how we kind of step into this week. And I'm going to well, I guess I'll leave that on because there's other things that I'll tell you about. But anyway, today, let's see, we had Sun Moon was opposing. I mean, I already told you that. Let's see. Oh, another thing today. Moon moves into Capricorn. So there's a kind of it was in a festive Sag, but today moved into Capricorn, which will make a much more serious tone to what's happening, what we're moving into. We're being, for feeling responsible, right? And then we also have, we're finishing up this Pluto Mars opposition. We see that they're separating, it's not there anymore because it's past the 29 degrees. If I go back there, so you can see it's opposing there. It was perfect on Sunday. So this is separating. Look at this. This is another nice one, right? um, uh, anyway, this is separating, but we're going to see this again right before Inauguration Day, and we're going to see it again in April. We talked about this. There's opposition, so don't forget about that either. Okay, moving on. Wednesday. Okay, so moving into Wednesday, there's also a lot, and I'll have to bring it out and I can show you planets. We're looking at them one way in the sky. They have um, they have measurements up and down. They're parallel, contraparallel. They may be all up kind of north, or they may be, some of them might be north, some of them might be south. So what am I talking about? Above and below the ecliptic plane, the plane where all the constellations are, dancing around, is the planet's orbit. Sometimes they go higher above the ecliptic plane, sometimes they're going lower below it. So sometimes they'll line up or oppose each other up and down as well, put it that way. So there's some of that this week with the planets not only having a lot of tension in what I'm showing you with all these crazy red angles here, the squares, half squares, squares and half, but there's a lot of parallels and contraparallels happening, which are, like oppositions and conjuncts between the planets. So that just further intensifies this time. I thought I'd throw that out there without getting too nitty-gritty about it, but it's just like highlighting and underlining things in these few days here, this poignant time that we're going through. This is history. So we look at Wednesday. Um, Mercury, well, let's go before I get there because it'll change. The sun, actually the moon this day is kind of what's an interesting stressor. The moon will make a sextile over to the sun. You see, like when it was at 14 degrees, you can see that would have been an exact sextile over to the sun. I'm not going to bother going to the degrees, but you can see it. At this time, it just moved forward. And then it also made a nice sextile over to the moon. So what am I saying? Moon to Saturn. Sorry, Saturn to the moon. You see here when it was like 12, it would have been here, and then 14, it would have been over to the sun. So this, I think, a Wednesday is kind of like, the moon is like that emotional feeling. It's that stabilizing energy, and it's there in Capricorn. Um, it's actually, let me get the hours here because it's a good one. There we go. Let's see. 12. Oh, it's not doing it real good. Okay, so there's one sextile, and I'd have to go back. Why isn't it doing it? It didn't. There it is. Okay, so there we go. There, I got it lined up here. Okay, so here's the moon, sextile over to the sun, sextile over to Saturn. So the moon here it's kind of like stabilizing, right? There's all feminine energy. It's pulling in, it's receptive, it's stabilizing energy. So I think this is going to be some kind of the first little kajink of stabilizing energies. Not done by no means, but that's one part. This some kind of realization will be happening. And then with the nodes, still making, over to Mars. This is very interesting, making the trine and then the sextile Mars. Look at that, all that interesting, starting to stable or settle down kind of an energy, starting to, let me just put it that way. But yeah, with the moon there, I think whatever emotional attachments or investment that will start to, there's some realization will start to happen there. And then here we still see this, Venus and Uranus is still not happy. This is still like having to make some kind of a reality check, with something. So yeah, this is some interesting stuff going on. Now the sun also quincunx over to Jupiter. So something, on the large level, um, we've got this interesting, right here, sun, moon, they're making, aspects here and then over to Jupiter. So we've got a large feeling and ego. and projection and dealing with something. It's uncomfortable. Huh. So yeah, Wednesday's going to be really first day kind of big reality check. All right, oops, and let's just go 2 days. Okay. Now Thursday, we got some interesting things this week. You know, we had already we had Mercury move into Sag. You can see Mercury's early degrees. Always find the sun. There it is. So, you know, on Saturday we had Mercury change signs, and then we just had Mars change signs, you know, moved into Leo. And then next week or Monday, we'll see it in a minute, Venus will change signs. See, Venus is getting here at the end of Sag. And then Pluto at the middle of the month, around the 19th. Look how it's 48 minutes. It will change signs. So this month, November, 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, and then we have a full moon in Taurus. But anyway, we'll have um 4 sign changes. So there's some change happening here. You know, we're building, and you know, change, boom, boom, boom. So we definitely keep that in mind as we're going through. When does Pluto? Pluto does it on the 19th. So for the next 2 weeks, it'll be happening. We got big changes happening. Um, okay, so on Tuesday, we already talked about the sun and the moon. Okay, sun. Where we got? What else did I want to share with you? Jupiter. Told you about that. That's separating. We already know that. Yeah, the square. Oh, the moon. The moon will square over to Neptune. You know, as it's moving through on Thursday, there's, you know, you can see here it's 15 degrees, and it's going to be coming here. Where am I at? Neptune. There we go. Oh, I'm sorry, the sextile. Moon sextiling over to Neptune. So there it is. So we have feminine sign, feminine sign. So right here, it's kind of hidden in here. So there's some maybe more feeling, fantasy, illusion, delusion, a little bit of that. Remember I said we're going to have a triggered Neptune this week. Here's one little one. Also Venus squaring over here. We've got a mutable sign and then mutable sign. This is a big one. So we have 2 things happening on Thursday with Neptune. So there's a little bit of you know, stuff still doesn't fit or feel good, maybe, you know, because Venus is not in a good conversation there. You know, Venus wants to be, you know, a nice conversation with Neptune, but it's not. And then the moon wants to be in a nice conversation with Neptune, and it's not. And then Venus and the moon are, you know, they're one sign apart, and they're not in a good conversation. So some stuff isn't fitting. You know, it's like some whatever reality check it was on Wednesday. It's like it's just not going to fit here on Thursday. It's a very interesting chart to see the sun now also quincunxing, you know, as it moves closer, you know, in the next 4 days, you see it's about a degree a day. It's going to get closer to a quincunx over to Jupiter. And this is not going to feel good either. This is, you know, getting closer to that just, you know, larger yuck. Realizing that, you know, like this is fixed water, there are ways to go. This restless energy here of, you know, Jupiter and Gemini is just going to be bogged down here for a bit. Okay, what else I have? Yeah, we just said that doesn't fit. Moon at late in the day. They say what I have it at in the morning here, but later in the day, the moon will cross over Pluto. Let's get ours because this will be kind of fun, funky too. Moon feeling, you know, in Capricorn, going over Pluto the last time. The next time the moon goes over Pluto, it will be in Aquarius. But there it is. It's around 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Moon going over that. And look at these aspects right when that happens. Wow. You know, we've got the opposition here to Mars, you know, because it's getting closer. There's only 2 degrees off. So moon will just, you know, oppose Mars. So this is going to just be like maybe salt in the wound or some rubbing up into something. Look at this interesting mystic rectangle here, though. Wow. So we have Moon and Pluto, the North and South node, and Mars. Interesting. But look at all the dynamic stuff. I don't want to get into all the minutia of all these because it's going, but we can see, how the moon, it's going to trigger, it's going over Pluto. It's going to trigger a lot of these um, uncomfortable conversations. It's not going to be comfortable over here to Jupiter and Gemini. It wants to move and fidget, and it can't. It can't. It's like, nope, we're tied up here. And then that's reflexing over to the sun in not a good way. And it's all going in a half square over to Mars, not in a good way. Um, yeah, look at this as just a big squabble. Wow. So Thursday, just kind of be careful that conversations can get a little wily. And then as it moves on, the moon moves into Aquarius, and that kind of changes the energy. We get it, we still have certain things in place, but look at that. I mean, it just, um, wow, that mystic rectangle persists. All right, let's move on to Friday. This is a busy week, right? Okay, Friday. We got the moon opposing Mars. We already talked about that. That's really the big one. Friday, we also have the moon sextiling over to where we go. Well, we still have the moon going trining over to Gemini, which is really nice. And where's my Mercury there? Yeah, it had just made a square over to Mercury. So uncomfortable things, stuff still coming up, bubbling out, information, feelings. How do I feel about this? How do I feel about that in a large way? So much coming in. All right. And Saturday, we have our first quarter square of the sun and moon building toward the full moon, and that's more angst and more energy, coming in on that. And then we've also got our another thing with Neptune and Venus. Neptune, there it is, and Venus 28, 27. Okay, just click past. So anyway, we have that square. Let me go back. Maybe I'll show it. Well, Venus. It's got to get like to the right degree. Oh, darn. Get it over here. Okay. Anyway, we can see the Venus here. It's 27. Oh, it's almost there. It's almost there. Maybe we'll click. I'm going to do one more. 27, 23. Almost there, boys. Moving slow. Okay. Anyway, 27 degrees, 27 degrees, mutable sign, mutable sign. I don't know why it didn't do square right there. There we go. I guess I had to go far. Okay. So anyway, see it right here. Here's the square. Here's that square. And this is going to be in place like all week. Okay. This isn't just going in on Saturday because it's, we've got Venus coming into that confusion. It's still like illusion, comes back in hard. It's like lies. I think this is like the fake news is going to be ousted. I think the world is going to be waking up to how out of control the media has been and how influential in painting the picture. Because that's just that it just doesn't fit. It doesn't feel good. This is a bad reality. It's like a bad dream. It's like the Nine of Swords card is like just can't swallow it. Bitter pill. Ugh, just not gonna fit. And then with all that stuff going on, we've had all the hits with Mercury, this, information coming out, lies revealed. That's my take on it, at least. What else we said? Sunday's going to be kind of mellow, other than maybe the moon moving into, where are we here? Moon, as it moves into the next sign of Pisces, it will just add more of the confusion and fuzziness to the whole thing for the next few days. And then it's going to go over Saturn. So moon going over Saturn, we still get more reality check, the feelings about that. Um, yeah, that's just gonna be like, more of that same kind of crappy energy. And then now look, we've got Sun square and a half over to the North Node. It would have made square and a half over to Neptune as well. Yeah, so this you can see repeating same kind of energy. And then next week, we come into Mercury squaring Saturn. Where's Mercury here? See, it's 10 degrees, Saturn is 12. We're coming into it right there. You can see that square. And I think it's maybe Monday or Tuesday, I think when we reconvene, that'll be perfected. So yeah, again, more stuff being told, more serious, Capricorn, I mean, Saturn, serious things, but in Pisces, muddled, fuzzy. And then we've got inquisitive, mercurial energy in far-sighted, looking wide, Sagittarius. So there's conflict there. Okay, and then as we end it up on Monday before we reconvene, um, you know, Venus, where is we at? Venus just is about to move into the next sign, moving into Capricorn, and then again we have there we go. We get more of a serious tones, and it's it making a quincunx over to Mars, as it moves further into Capricorn. But that's definitely, going to make us see things more as they really are, and trying to fit feelings about something, having some more reality check. Um, it's a much more, serious look at values, or what you really value is what you're told a lie. How is your inner integrity, how is your inner values, um with all kinds of things. Venus is going to be in Capricorn for a little bit, so it will be dealing with things that are structured with the status quo, with what is your status quo, what is structure for you, how do you fit that in, before we have a lot of radical change into air signs and into Aquarius. So a lot of restructuring things, refitting things, how we thought what we were told may not be true. And we have to get ready to face that, or help people that haven't evolved on that level to face the truth, to get ready to face lots of truths. All righty then. That is it for this week. Stay buckled up. It's a good ride. If we, stay enlightened, to stay aware, stay ahead of it, it's nice to know the weather before you head down the mountain. All right, more to follow next week. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.